Hi and welcome. Today I'm joined with Hugo from HVT Architecture here in Villamora, Villasol, and we'll be going through a process of, if you're thinking of buying a piece of land to build a property on, whether it's a building, a conversion, Hugo's going to guide us through all the rules and regulations and the good things and the bad things about buying a piece of land and building here. So Hugo, you're quite established here now. We've dealt with you, Ideal Homes, for a few years now, and your main project is building properties.
Yes.
Yeah, and going through the legal process, because it can be a bit of a minefield. Portugal, which is good, don't get me wrong, because there's not mass building. That's what makes Portugal so good. But they are very strict in building regulations.
Yes, yes. Okay, so the first thing to be aware of is that we have a document, a rule, and the name it's PDM, it's Plano Diretor Municipal, which basically it's each council has one, okay, and they do divide the area of the council in several areas, mainly 3 areas, okay, urban areas where you can build, and it's defined to be expansion areas, okay, the areas of agriculture areas, okay, and ecological areas, okay? On those 3 main classes, then they are subdivided in several classes, each one of these 3 ones. But the first one, urban, as the name says, it's to build.
This means as well, sorry to interrupt, but if it's in urban and it's in the PDM, it doesn't need to have like a ruin or a property on it?
No, it doesn't. No.
Okay.
Okay. In those areas that are urban, you have rules to fulfill, but you know that you are inside of a urban area, so you won't have much of a problem, okay, if you are fulfilling those rules. On the agriculture areas, you have ones that are reserved, and you have ones that don't have a reserve. Okay.
Is this the RAN?
Yes, the RAN.
Okay, R-A-N.
R-A-N, exactly. The ones that have a reserve, all of them, you are not, it's not possible to build, with an exception, if you have a pre-existing building or a ruin, okay? In those cases, yes, you can build, okay? And then we have to understand if it is inside of the reserve, if it's not inside of the reserve, and the regulation applied to each one of them, okay?
Yeah.
For the ecological areas, it's not possible to build as well, with the exception again if you have a ruin, okay? But the restrictions on ecological areas are really high.
Is this like the Rio Formosa?
Yes, the Rio Formosa, it's different. The Rio Formosa, it's ICNF, okay? And they manage basically all the areas next to the sea, okay? All the areas close to the sea, it's ruled by their own laws, okay? So sometimes you do have things like you have a property that it's inside of a classification, but then you have even to go to ICNF and you must fulfill the requirements for each, all of the things.
Well, everything is, like you say, set in place. And you know, I mean, I know from experience, I can come here, you can get on your computer and you can come up with all the area immediately and tell me where that property or that piece of land is.
Most of the time, yes.
Most of the time.
Not every time, but most of the time, yes.
I don't want to sound overcomplicated, but by having all these restrictions, well, not all restrictions, but the restrictions that are there to preserve Portugal.
Yes.
That's what makes Portugal different. The Algarve, for example, you know, it's not high rise in all the different areas, low density, etc.
That's the idea.
That's the idea. So, although it's frustrating, you know, in another way it's great because it protects the.
Yes, the idea it's to have the extension of the urban areas and the extension of housing in a slow pace.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Instead of opening everything to everyone, no. We have, they define the municipalities, they define areas of extension, and once those areas are basically fulfilled, they open another one, and then another one, Okay?
So it's progress.
It's a progress
Yeah.
thing, yes.
And I mean, there's like everything, better municipalities than others. Like there's some get things done quicker.
We cannot say there are better than others.
No.
What we can say is there are ones that work faster than others.
More efficient?
I don't know if it is more efficient. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't want to say that's the right word. The question is there you have municipalities that have less work than others.
Yeah.
So they become a little bit more efficient if you want to go into that word.
Yeah.
The efficiency, it's also connected to the amount of building licenses and projects and everything that you have inside of the municipalities.
And on building, whether it's a single story or a two-story property, for example, does that vary?
Yes.
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 Again, with all the regulations?
Yes.
Yeah. So depending on the area?
Depending on the area, yes. So my advice is always this, and you know this because we have had a lot of conversations in this regarding this. The best option is always before anyone makes a purchase on a plot to contact an architect or to speak with us and say, what about this? What can I do?
Yeah.
You know, and then
you will come up immediately, almost immediately, and say yes or no to something.
Exactly. If I have doubts, and sometimes it happens because sometimes doubts arrive to us as well, we make requests, the proper request to the municipality to get an answer.
And boundaries. You can only build away from a boundary.
Yes, in the urban areas, that's not the point, okay? Because you can go to the boundary. Yeah. You cannot open windows to the boundary, okay? All the rest, you need to leave 5 meters to the boundary. Right. Yes.
Okay. And what about things like converting? If you've got an existing property and you want to extend it?
Well, it's possible. It's possible again under the rules. Imagine this scenario. Let's put a scenario on top of the table. Okay, you have a pre-existing building. Let's call it not a ruin, but a house, very old house that needs refurbishment. Okay, yeah. Inside of agriculture areas. Okay, and the ruin or the house has 120 square meters. You can extend it up to 300 square meters.
Is that in all areas of?
In all the areas of agriculture land, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Up to
300. Yeah, up to 300. But you cannot extend the number of floors.
So you go out.
Exactly.
But not up.
Exactly. You go out, but not up. Okay. But each case, it's one case. But most of the ecological and agriculture areas, you will not be allowed to extend the number of floors. You will be allowed to, but imagine another scenario then. Imagine that you have a ruin, already happened to us, a ruin with 500 square meters.
Yeah.
You cannot extend it because you already passed
the 300.
The 300.
Yeah.
Okay. So the maximum it's the area that you have on your documents.
But if it's under 300,
you can go up to 300.
And if it's a single story, you can go out on your footprint.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but obviously within 5 meters of a boundary.
Of the boundary, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it all begins to make a little bit of sense. So, I mean, I know, for example, you have actually a plot in Santa Barbara, Dinesh. Mm-hmm. We were just talking about it earlier. So if anybody is looking for a good plot, I know the plot, and it's flat, but amazing sea views, very close to Santa Barbara, Dinesh, and very, 10-15 minutes to the airport.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
And very coastal views across the Algarve.
Yes, the views are really good.
But there you've done a project where you could actually build one property, which is 1,000 square meters.
Yes.
Which is very big, very big. Or you can now have two properties. So as an investment, someone could buy that plot, build a house of their dream, but also build another one next to it, and really
sell it.
And sell it, and that will cover your costs.
Yes.
So that's on the market at 395,000.
Yes.
So that's the whole plot So you could have one house at 1,000 square metres or two 500 square metre houses. And that's with basement cave underneath.
Yes.
That's a great project. That is a really good project. That area is very nice.
I think so as well.
You can walk into Santa Barbara.
You have supermarket, you have gas station, pharmacy, school, cafes, restaurants. It's a very small town, but it's nice because you have really good access to everything, to the highway, to IKEA, to
the
Faro.
Mall shopping.
I think the location it's really nice, and then it's on the hills. You have these amazing views, which is really really nice.
It's on the hill, but it's still flat though, isn't it?
It's not entirely flat, but it's very flat.
Well, it's not.
No.
No,
It's not like that.
And what would you anticipate? I know raw materials are going up because of the world we're living at the moment, but what would you anticipate a cost of build on that?
Well, the cost of a construction, it's always very connected to the finishings, okay? Because the cost of the iron, the cost of the cement, the cost of the bricks, those costs for the rough part of the construction are identical for $1 million house and for 50 million, okay? The difference then becomes the cost of the taps, the cost of the windows, the cost of those small things that really makes a difference, okay? At the moment, the prices have been going up, and I would say to you, for you to have a rough idea, the cost will be between 1,800 to 2,000 euros per square meter of construction, plus VAT.
Yes, yeah. I was thinking 2,000 gets you a good quality finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
you
always
can spend more, but
of course you can spend more. Yeah. We always do our projects and we always advise our clients to put first quality materials.
Yes.
And normally we do always with Portuguese materials.
And this then would be probably leading to an A plus.
Well, at least A plus.
Yes.
At least.
At least.
Sometimes we can go up to A++.
And build time, 18 months to 2 years?
For a house, for a normal house, I would say to you between 14 to 18 months.
Right. And start to finish and it's done.
Exactly.
And you project manage it? Or?
Yes.
Yep. So you're here, you plan it, design it.
And manage.
And manage it, yeah. So, and obviously if you've got your own personal things you want, you plan around that, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so make it more bespoke. So, and with the market at the moment in Portugal, in the Algarve, I mean, there's not enough properties, resale. So building your own property gets you, all right, you have 18 months for build time, but that's going to increase in value. And also you're getting a house that will suit you exactly to what you want.
Yeah, that's the main point. It's not that you're going to buy, well, the first thing it's when you're buying something that it's been already built, you don't know exactly what you're buying, you know.
No.
You have a close idea of what you're buying.
You walk in a house and you know if you like it, you don't like it, but there's always going to be things that you're going to want to change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also the quality of the construction. You don't know exactly what is inside, you know. And when you're building from scratch, you know exactly what you're doing, which materials are you doing, you know, and it's different.
Yeah, and it's also it's not a challenge. I wouldn't say it's a challenge. It's actually quite a rewarding feeling when you're building something. You're planning it with your help, exactly. And you're getting something made to exactly what you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
One quick thing. Yeah. RAN. If anybody buys a property on a RAN and they wanted to, say there was a pool put in there, a swimming pool, what's the regulations with that?
You have to be inside of the 300 square meters.
But isn't there a rule about you can't sell it for 10 years?
Yes, yes. Every time that you make a project inside of a property inside RAN, okay, RAN,
yep.
National Reserve Agriculture,
yep.
Okay, at the moment, there is a law that you cannot sell it in the next 10 years.
Right.
Okay? And the reason is simple. Okay? The reason is that it's not supposed to build houses in the RAN, okay? But when you have a ruin, you have a right, okay? You have the right to do it. To try to avoid speculation as well in this kind of lands, they put this law up that so you cannot sell it in 10 years. You can rent it, okay, but you cannot sell it.
Okay, right.
Okay.
If anybody wants more details on this particular project or any others, you may have questions, you can always contact myself, John at idealhomesportugal.com, and we can help you with everything. So I think we've covered most things today. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.